one of the beautiful things that comes out of our group Power Day workshop, imagine and picture this, Dustin or myself working with you, pulling out of you what is your specialized knowledge, and then putting it in a certain way and naming it and creating it so that way you can end up with your own box. And I met Jordan, and I told him, I said, hey, what are your goals? He's like, man, one of these days I'd love to make 7 figures. But he didn't believe it was possible. I said, well, why not now? And he says, well, maybe someday, one of these days I'll figure it out. So I explained to him, I said, well, listen, let's write your webinar presentation, create the offer. We're going to build your box, and we're going to do a launch. And we did the launch. This was last December. And he did $3.5 million of selling his box. And so this is a powerful thing when you have a box. And they're beautiful boxes. I met Bob and Ed Diamond and worked with Bob, wrote his webinar presentation and stage presentation, and he created this beautiful box. He kind of modeled it after like an Apple box. And he's done over $10 million with this box. So people love boxes, right? In fact, people like to collect boxes. In fact, some of you might be box collectors, right? How many who's in box collectors, be honest, right? So we have to remember the people that are buying our information, they love these things. So why not give it to them, right? So the person that is buying these is typically age 55 to 68 years old. They don't want a digital download. They come from the physical world. Making sense? So if you're not offering up your information in a box, you're probably losing about half your sales. Making sense? And then obviously the refund rate will go up because you did not give them physically anything in there. Here's another one of our clients. Again, in the real estate industry, we created another beautiful offer for him. And we've got another one over here. This beautiful box here, I met this guy named Kent Clother from 1-800-SELL-NOW. I helped him build his whole speaking info business out. He's made the Inc. 500. And again, this is his box here. And again, it's a beautiful box. He makes over 8 figures teaching people about, how to do real estate. So one of the things that comes out of the Group Power Day workshop is we build your PowerPoint presentation and your offer. And then the second thing is, it's like, it's like in this business, like if we don't do it for you, it just doesn't get done. So we're like, okay, we built the offer, we wrote your whole presentation, did everything for you. You need to build your box. Well, people are not building their boxes. So we said, all right, enough's enough. You come to our office for 3 days. We have the transcriptionists. We have the people there, and you leave with your box done. Isn't that pretty cool? Who in this room would like to come to one of our box workshops? Let me see your hands, honestly. It's an amazing thing because it's about getting that box done so that you can launch your brand, launch your business, and obviously get that cash flow. Now, what I want to work on next is I want to really take a look at where you're at in your business. We have a dynamic group of people that are attracted to Speaking Empire. In fact, sometimes we get a lot of different people in different industries. So, if it's in the church industry now, or if it's in real estate, or personal development, or whatever it is, we've kind of seen them all. And typically, we have a lot of different clients that are at different stages in their business life. In fact, I worked with a company in Utah called Zurich's. Has anybody ever heard the seminar company called Zurich's by any chance? Maybe some of you have. They're a company. They do 100 seminars per week. They brand Damon Johns from Shark Tank, Flipping Boston, probably Flip or Flop. So a lot of these things, they do about $100 million a year in seminar business. They brought me on last year and to work with all their speakers and coach them and consult them. So I took them from $100 million to $200 million. So depending on, some people are in different areas, so we get a lot of some companies that are really high up there, and they call me and Dustin in to come into their business. Dustin works with the marketing, and then I work with them on the logistics and the systems and their speakers. Making sense? So some of you in this room are high at that level, and some of you will then the other people that found out, well, man, if Dave's teaching Tony Robbins' son and Dave's working with them guys, I want to hire him. So then sometimes we get some people that are maybe a doctor or a lawyer or maybe somebody who's a realtor, and they say, man, I would love to become in the info business. So since you're the guy that works with all the celebrity guys, I want to hire you. So sometimes we have to take people from ground zero all the way up to 7 and 8 figures. So it depends on where you're at. That being said, we're really blessed that we've got over 40,000 speaker companies in our Infusionsoft all over the place that are looking for great speakers with great boxes. My phone rings all the time. Dave, I got an event going on. I got thousands of people there. I need a good speaker. Who speaks on such and such that has a good product? Oh, I think about this gentleman here. He's come to our event, and I built this box. I built this presentation. You want this person on your stage. So my phone, we get calls all the time from our office because obviously we're Speaking Empire, right? So people call us, hey, we need a speaker. We need somebody. Now, we're not the keynote. People don't call us if we're looking for a keynote. No, we're looking for a speaker that has a box to sell from stage. Making sense? So we get that all the time. So that being said, you want to be ready because really, one stage, you can make 6 figures pretty dang easy, right? One stage. Now, 7 figures, you have to speak on a big stage. Might take about maybe 5 or 6 stages to get to 7 figures, but it's very possible. Making sense? So when I say you're only 1 or 2 stages away from 7 figures, that's the truth. Making sense? So some of you are in a situation where you want to speak overseas. I just had Sherry Tree stop by, who's one of our clients. She speaks all around the world. She's like, Dave, I want to speak on more international stages. Can you help me out? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I need to know where you're standing at. What are your biggest challenges, and where do you want to go? And this is the thing. Is in life I found out if you know where you're at, let's just say you're in New York and you want to go to LA, right? As long as you know where you're at, you know a destination, you can take one step at a time and you'll get there, right? Right? So one of the big things that we know in business, if you start here and you're coming up and you're getting results, okay, and then you want to come up over here, we have like a bridge, right? A gap, what they call the gap principle, right? So what is your gap? What is stopping you from your results? So what I want to do is really take a look at where are you standing at right now? What does your business look like? What are your challenges? I want to help you get really crystal clear on where you want to go. Where do you want to go? You know, in the next 12 months, you know, are you a 7-figure business in 12 months? Are you trying to become an 8-figure business in 12 months? Where do you want to go? Because obviously in life, we know if we don't have an intention of where we want to go, we can't have no plan. And the problem is, we all know if we have planned to fail, or if we have failed to plan, we have planned to what? Fail, right? So we've got to get really precise of where we want to go. So I want to really take the time now to really dive down. Where do you want to go? What resources does Speaking Empire need to do to serve you? Do I need to make some connections for you to speak on some big stages? Do you need to come into one of our workshops so I can write your PowerPoint presentation with you so it's done? Do you need to come in and get your box done? Some of you say, well, Dave, I need to get my book done. I need to get my book in Barnes & Noble. So come in, we'll get your book done. So I need to know where you're at so that we can make sure that we give you the right tools and resources. Making sense? So I want to share a funny story with you. So I've been in this business for a long time. And one of the big things is Dustin tells a story how he went to a Get Motivated seminar. And he went to this seminar, and it's 20,000 people big, right? And he goes there and he sees fireworks and this, and he's maybe 23 years old, and he says, man, one day I want to be a part of that kind of seminar. He set that intention out there, right? So later on in life, we built our businesses up, and so Dustin always wanted us to be a part of Get Motivated, Peter Lowe. So what he did is he contacted that seminar company, sent them some information, which we're going to show you and teach you, and got their attention. And he got Brian over there. So he gets on the phone, and I don't know if he's doing this, but he says, yeah, my partner Dave is like one of the best closers in the world, and we want to speak on your stage, and he is going to crush it for you guys. So he's talking to the guy, and so long story short, find out his company's in Tampa, Florida, where ours is. So he comes over to talk to me, and he says, I heard you can close, and we've got this big seminar company. By any chance, has anybody ever been to one of those Get Motivated seminars or one of those things? Let me see your hands. Anybody ever been to it? It's really cool. So it's big. It's like 20,000 people big. So I go there, and the guy's like, yeah, he's talking to me, kind of interviewing me, see where I'm at. And I'm like, yeah, I can close. I can speak. La, 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 la. And he says, you know what? I think I'm going to put you and give you a test. So he says to me, he says, you need to hit these numbers. If you hit these numbers, we'll put you on that stage. Now, I didn't really know what this stage was because we were busy doing things. So we fly to Tennessee, and I get there, and I go over, and it's like the Tennessee stadium where they play basketball, and there's 20,000 people in this stadium. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, these guys are like the real deal, Dustin. So we're backstage in the green room, and hanging out, and we see Zig Ziglar there, we see presidents there, and General Powell, right? And you're talking about the guy who ran our whole military, and I'm meeting Terry Bradshaw and all these guys. I'm like, this is pretty cool. So the guy comes up to me, and it's funny. He says, and he comes in with this attitude. He says, so boy, I think we're going to try you out, and we're going to put you on a small stage over here, maybe with a couple hundred people, and if you can hit your numbers, we'll put you on the big stage. And I'm like, okay. I said, what do you want me to speak on? And he says, well, your partner said you guys can do sales training. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't teach sales. I don't teach sales training. But one of the things you're going to learn, and as I want you all to write this down, is to be flexible. Right? Okay? Be flexible. And so I said, yeah, I can do speaker training. No problem. I mean, that's sales training. So he goes to me, okay, we're going to put you in this room. Now, typically, before you get an opportunity like this, you have probably done your presentation maybe couple hundred times, so you know what the PowerPoint is, you know your presentation, your offer. And so basically, that day, we wrote it. So, and it's not my topic, but, speaking sales, it's close enough. So we get there, and the guy goes, all right, boy, we're going to put you in this room over here. And before I go there, I'm looking in this big theater, and I'm seeing fireworks going off. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a concert. This is a cool place. Right, Frank? It's really cool. So he says, yeah, I might put you on the big stage. My mind's thinking, man, this could be like the big time. This is like the Super Bowl of speaking, right? This is like it. So he puts me over there, and I come to the room, and I'm very good at reading the room. One of the things you have to do as a speaker is you got to mirror and match the crowd. Write that down. And you've got to make sure that your product matches their challenge. So I look in the room and I say, Dustin, this doesn't look like salespeople at this seminar. Okay? I just don't feel like it. So I tell John, the MC, I go, John, before I get up there, tell them, ask them real quick how many people are in sales, because we're going to sell a sales program, a sales boot camp. So John gets up there and says, in a moment, I'm going to bring up Mr. Dave Van Hoos. Just curious, how many of you, by a show of hands, are in sales? Let me see your hands. And raise up. Out of the hundreds of people, 4 people. Now, one of the things Tom will tell you is one of the hardest things to sell is even sales training to salespeople, let alone sales training to people that don't even sell, because selling's a bad word, right? And so I'm like, Dustin, we're in deep trouble. I got to hit these numbers. We told this promoter we're going to do all this stuff. We're not going to do it. So I stopped. I said, Dustin, I want everybody to listen. Come here. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to be on in about 5 minutes. Dustin, they had the PowerPoint in the back table. I go, Dustin, run to the back. We're going to change this. I said, let's do a personal empowerment seminar or something. And write an offer just like you did. I said, we're going to teach people how to have better relationships, and we're going to do this whole thing on goal setting. And I said, I'm going to go up there, and you change the PowerPoint as I'm going. So I'm talking to him. John's like, all right, Mr. Van Hoos, come on up here, Mr. Van Hoos. In a moment, we're going to bring Mr. Dave Van Hoos up here, and he's going to teach you and share with you about empowerment, of how to have a better life. So let's do a big favor to me. Let's give him a warm welcome to the stage, Mr. Dave Van Hoos. So they clap. I come up, and I get up on stage, and I said, how's everybody doing today? And I said, how's everybody feeling? Great. Well, I'm excited to be here with you. And today, I'm about to share with you and teach you, click, about personal empowerment. I'm going to share with you in a moment how you can really just step into your power and greatness and have a better life. So, click. So have you ever wondered what it would feel like to actually live the life of your dreams? And then I'd say, click, next slide, yes statement. I say, by a show of hands, who in this room would like me to share with you how to get more wealth and more better relationships? Put your hands up and say yes. Let me see your hands. So, click. All right. So then I click, and I get to the story. So then I do my story, and I go through the teaching, and now I come to the close. So I always say, I said, did I be of value to you? Yes? They say yes. I says, would it be okay with all of you if I shared something that would empower you? Would it be okay with all of you? Let me see your hands. So I'm going to talk to you more about getting what they call permission to close. So I said, here's what we're going to do. In the next 2 weeks, I'm going to share with you and teach you a 3-day boot camp, which we're going to, it's called the Ultimate Relationship Wealth and Freedom Boot Camp. And at this boot camp, we're going to, we're going to help you have better relationships. And we're going to teach you, about how to set goals and affirmations. So I'm going to, Dustin's changing stuff in the back, basically. And I get to the end, and I say, okay, this program is valued at $5,000. I said, so if all the system did for you was give you a better relationship so you can go out and have more fun, would it be worth the investment? Yes or yes? Let me see your hands. You can play with me if you want. That's cool. If all this did for you was, it's help you get out of your JOB so you can start your own business, would it be worth the investment? Let me see your hands. Awesome. So here's what I'm going to do for the first 100 of you that go ahead and get up right now and get that back table. It's going to be, very interesting. Okay, so you can go back now. So long story short, they ran back, and I walked off the stage. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was like a challenging time. I mean, that was pretty tight. Because the last thing you ever want to do to a speaker is he's getting ready to speak on the stage. It's, you better do this, or you should do this, or you got to do this. I'm like, okay, that's going to help me, right? This guy puts all this pressure on me. That's really going to serve me before I'm getting up on stage. So the guy comes over and says, so boy, I saw what you did. Not bad, not bad. I think you hit the numbers. I might put you on the big stage. We're going to go to Kentucky tomorrow. I might put you on the big stage. Whoa. So we get back to the room, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we might be on the big stage. I was just like, okay. So we go to the arena, and I get there early, and then I'm in the back green room, and they have a bunch of food and all this stuff, and you can hear the fireworks. It's a big stadium. And I'm back there eating, which I love to eat, by the way. And he comes and he says, I'm putting you on the big stage. I'm like, okay. And then I thought about it for a minute. Wait a minute. We really don't even have a PowerPoint. We still don't really have one because when you get on a big stage, you usually know your PowerPoint word for word. Okay. So then I'm sitting there. He comes back an hour and says, we don't have time. You're not on a big stage. So I'm like, oh, so I take my suit off. I'm hanging out. So I'm talking to all the celebrities back there, just having fun. He comes back. He says, you're on the big stage. Put the suit back on. All right. Yes, I'm ready. Comes back, says, no, we don't have time. I'm like, oh my gosh, man. I don't know if this was like to try my patience and everything. He comes back, he says, you're on the big stage. So I put my jacket on, I go in the mirror, and I look at me, and I'm like, holy mackerel. I'm like, take 3 deep breaths. It's going to be all right. So I get out. He says, you're not on a big stage. I'm like, oh my gosh. So now it's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is going back and forth all day. So I'm like, we're not going on a big stage, Dustin, whatever. So I'm sitting back there, and I see Zig Ziglar. He just got off the stage. I'm like, oh, there's Zig. So me and Dustin are talking to him, and Zig is like, if you help enough people get what they want in life, you'll get whatever you want in life. And I look, the guy sees me, he goes, there you are. You're on the stage in 1 minute. I'm like, what? All I remember is they're putting a microphone on me, pushing me out. I'm like, I don't have my suit coat. Dustin, go give it. Dustin gets it. I'm putting it on, and they push me out, and I run out. I run all the way up, and boom. Holy moly. Now, one of the things that they might not have told you or told me is that after the celebrities get done speaking out of the 20,000 people, what do you think happens next? Half of them do what? Leave. So you got to be prepared for this. Thank God I'm trained, right? So I had to grab the attention, excite the imagination, bring them into a yes state. So I'm doing my presentation, and I know so much, what you guys are going to learn tomorrow. So I'm talking here, anchoring here. There's tables there. I'm doing all these different things, and I'm going around like this. And what's really cool is when you do that, your PowerPoint slides are on this big jumbotron, at the football games, the basketball games, the big thing in the middle. So the PowerPoint's up there. So I'm doing my presentation. And I finally get to my story. And I have a bad habit with speaking. You want to know what it is? I have a bad habit. I have this PowerPoint clicker, and I don't know why. We can go to the Mars, we can go to the moon, but somehow we have to carry this clicker to switch a PowerPoint slide. We haven't figured a better system. Because one of the things you'll learn from me tomorrow is majority of communication is body language. It's movement, which I studied in college, kinesiology. And so you lose half your ability to communicate because you got to hold on to a clicker. Making sense? And I know this. So I get to my story, and I'm like, whew, story, right? So I put the clicker down, and I start telling my story. Start captivating them, anchoring here, going over here, doing this, telling my story. And then I come over here, and I'm doing this, and everybody's watching me over here, and I do this, and I get done with the story and go, oh gosh, where did I put the clicker, right? And here's what's interesting is there's 10, 20,000 people there. Well, your head is on a big jumbotron, right? So if you have a little zit, it's like that big on the jumbotron. So you got to keep it cool, right? So I'm like, where the heck did I put the clicker in my mind? So I better stop, take a deep breath. So I told a quick story to kind of gather myself to figure out. I'm going around this big stage going, where did I put the clicker? In my mind, as I'm talking, I'm doing this. Where did I put the clicker, Dave? Where did I put the clicker? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to hurry and find the clicker. I come over to the other table, and I see it. And I literally felt like I was Luke Skywalker. I saw it, Whoa, right? I have the power. Just give me a clicker and it's going to be all right. Got the clicker. Bam. Went through the presentation. Got to the close. I said, all right, well, I want everybody right now. I want you, 5,000 people, go to the table over there to sign up. You guys way up there. And people are literally going everywhere, running back to tables. And it was the craziest thing. And so that was my experience of speaking on the big stage. And the great thing was, it was an amazing ride. I got to follow Zig Ziglar. Zig would speak, and I spoke after him. So one of the lessons I want you to really take to heart is speaking is a learned skill set. If you're not speaking on the big stage right now, it's because everything starts from the inside out. You haven't developed the energy, the skill set to be on that stage. If you did, it would show up, right? That's the law of attraction. So what my intention tomorrow, I'm going to spend half the morning working with you so that you can be the best in the world. And that's my energy where I come from in sports. We won a world championship. I won Arena Bowl. We're the best in the world. I want you to be the best in the world so that when that big stage comes, you have the skill set to handle anything that happens. And we've got to get you drilled on that. Making sense? So that being said, tomorrow I'll spend the half day with you teaching you some of the most empowering presentator technology that you've ever seen on planet Earth. In fact, when I see speakers all the time, Dave, I've been speaking for 20 years. Before I speak and do this training, I said, rate yourself from 0 to 10. They say I'm probably a 9 or a 10. After they see me speak, when I show them, like, I give myself a 2. Right? So tomorrow, you're going to see something that you're really going to say, oh my gosh, I can go to a whole nother level tomorrow. So we're going to spend a lot of time doing that tomorrow. Sound like fun? Yeah. Okay. So I just want to share that story because I want you to be on that big stage to share your message to the world. Impact not hundreds, not thousands, millions and millions of lives of people are waiting for you to be able to get your message out. And that's what it's all about. I'm here to make a stand for you to step into your greatness. Friends, we don't have that much time on this planet, right? We don't have too many summers left. I'm 46 years old. We don't have too many left, right? Now is the time to start playing big. No more messing around, right? The world needs you. Whatever story or excuse you're telling yourself, it's rubbish, right? There's no reason why you can't have your message out to the world. The only person stopping you is you. This is the subconscious sabotage, the beliefs, the stories that you're telling yourself. So I need to know what is it that you want to do and go, and what are your challenges so that we can break through them. I'm here to share with you. What do you think's harder, speaking in front of 10 people or 10,000 people? I found out the 10,000 people is easier. The energy, the movement is just amazing. It's the rush that you get, the fun that it is. Speaking in front of 10 and 30 and 50 people, that's hard. So I did those presentations with 10 people and 50 people for many times. But you know what? It conditioned me that when I got on that big stage, it was easy. So I want you to know that I'm here to make sure that we can fast track and get you on that big stage this year. And I'm here to share this with you, the truth. You being in this room right here, you're going to be on the big stage. Because the energy frequency of people to be in this room, not everybody gets to come to these events, by the way. We don't have big speaking events. We keep them small purposely. I'm here to tell you, it's happening. And when it does, you better be prepared. Right? Because if you get on that stage and you make a mistake, that could be it. That's the truth. When do you think most people write their PowerPoint presentations? The night before. You're talking about 100,000 plus opportunity in 90 minutes, right? And it's not only about the 100,000 you make then, it's that you come back every year, they tell their friends, and they tell their friends, right, Anastasia? When you close 50% of the room in personal development, the door was knocking for her. And it's amazing. This is the business we're in. We are performers. We've got to be prepared, my friends. And I'll talk to you blue in the face about being prepared, and majority of the industry doesn't prepare, and that's just unfortunate. But I don't want you to be that. I got you here for a reason. So what I want to do is I want to take some time right now, and I want to hand out our coaching questionnaires. And I really want to dive down and figure out who you are, what's your vision, where do you want to go, how can Speaking Empire and myself serve you, help you, take you by the hand so that you can have your dreams come true. Making sense? Because I'm here to tell with you, it's you that's going to make the difference on this planet. And we need you. Making sense? So let's put some music on. I want you to take some time. Take the time. Do the best that you can. Fill this out so that I can understand where you're coming from.